Greetings, people. We meet again. We still continue with animal protection and control. We are now on the part whereby we talk about sustainable use of medicine. In this case, people were saying before you take the medicine to the animal, before maybe you inject or you use a drenching gun so that the animal can drink the medication, before you pour the medication into a deep for dipping, there are things that you must check, or there are things that you must follow to make sure that the medication treat the animal. It does not pose more danger to the animal. So we have a number of them. I think I have 5 on this slide, so we'll just look at them, but I will focus on the first 4. If you want to use a medication, there are things that you must follow. And I think for this slide, you will also relate it to your real life. If you want to use medication, the first thing that you must check the expiry date. Don't take medication that is expired and inject the animal with that medication. No, the first thing you must do, check the expiry date of the medication. That's the first thing that you must do. Number 2, you must make sure, or you must ensure that the medicine was stored properly. Some medication, they will say you store it in a refrigerator after opening. So make sure that the medication you are using was stored in a correct way. You must be able to follow all of this, because if ever you don't follow that instruction, you will find that the medication that will apply to the animal izobe ingesasebenza kahle ne. So the second one, we say ensure that the medicine was stored properly. Number 3, it talks about dosage. Inani, iskali, if ingayibeka kanjalo, iskali okufanele usinike leso silwane. So we say here, you must give the animal correct dosage based on its weight and based on its age. So you give the animal correct dosage. Ungathi nawe mina isilwane sami ngifuna siphile, kuthiwe isilwane siphuzise 50 millimeter, when uyashintsha manje uthi mina ngifuna siphile ngizosinika 100. No, you follow the instruction, you give the animal correct dosage. Sometimes what they will do, bazokutshela ukuthi for a calf you give it this dosage, for a matured animal you give it this dosage. So you must follow the instruction that you are given there in that medication. I hope you get this one right, people. Then we also have the next one. New needle or syringe must be used each time medication is administered. Ungathatha umjovo ojove ngaso lesilwane leso, uhamba ojova ngaso animal B, usuke uyojova ngaso animal B, uyojova animal C. Don't do that. Sometimes you'll find that kunama diseases affect animal A, kanti affect animal B. If you take the same syringe, the same needle, go to animal B, that disease will be transferred to animal B. And you also go to animal C, that disease will also be transferred to animal C. So whenever you inject the animal, you use a new needle. Don't use a needle twice in different animals. Make sure that you follow that instruction. I hope you get this one clear. So we say, 1, you check the expiry date, ensure that the medicine was stored properly, you use correct dosage based on its gender and its age and its weight, Then you also use a new needle whenever you are administering medication. I hope you get this one right. Let's take it further. Let's look at this one. I want you to master these 3 animal diseases. I will start with the first 2. infectious animal disease and the non-infectious animal disease. When we talk about infectious animal disease, we sometimes give it another name, say it's a contagious disease. But when we talk about a non-infectious, we say it's a non-contagious disease. Those are synonyms that I want you to know. Let's understand this one simple. When we talk about infectious disease, we say these are diseases that can be transferred from one organism to another organism. But when we talk about non-infectious, we say these are diseases that cannot be transferred from one organism to another organism. I hope you get it, people. Infectious, it can be transferred from one organism to another. So in a simpler way, we say this disease inga affect to animal A, and even transferred you affect to animal B, and again even transferred you affect to animal C. We say this disease, it's an infectious disease because it is transferred from one animal to another animal. Clear? Then we have non-infectious, the opposite of infectious. We say non-infectious, the disease cannot be transferred from one organism to another organism. I hope you get this one clear. If it affects animal A, it only affects animal A. Angeke ikwazi ukuthi bese suka ku animal A iye kubani ku animal B. I hope you get this one. Notifiable disease. So be able to make a table ukuze wenze umehluko la. If you can look at your notes, ngiphinde ngakunika ama examples of infectious, ngaphinde ngakunika ama examples of non-infectious. You can check it ema notes nakho. Let's look at this one. Notifiable disease. What is a notifiable disease? When we talk about a notifiable disease, people, we say this is a disease ethi mangabe iphethe isilwane, mangabe kwenzeka wena uyayi-notify, uyayi-identify ukuthi my animal is sick because of this disease. The law says make sure that you notify the government authorities as soon as you realize that my animal is suffering from this disease. So what is a notifiable disease? This is a disease that if they occur, it is required by the law to notify the government authorities if it is identified. You identify the disease, and then you notify what? The government authorities. What is the name of that disease? It's what is a notifiable disease. And these diseases, the reason why we must report to the government is because they kill animals. So there is no way you can say once you identify the diseases, quickly notify the government authorities. That is disease number 3. Number 4, it's a metabolic disease. It's a metabolic disease. We say a metabolic disease, it is that kind of a disease that will disturb metabolic processes. Could be anabolic or catabolic processes. But it is a disease that will disturb the metabolic process. Hence we call it what? Metabolic animal disease. And this disease, people, usually it is caused by shortage. This disease is caused by shortage of nutrients. So we say it will disturb, or sometimes they say it affect. Sometimes they use affect. It affects what? Metabolic processes. And this disease will be caused by the shortage of what? Of nutrients. And an example of this disease, ile disease esiyibiza ngani nge-anemia. Esiyemine nawe sipronounce it's anemia. So that is what that is, a metabolic disease, because shortage of nutrients. In this case, you will find that the animal is in short of what? Of iron. Then anemia. So that one is an example of what? Of a metabolic disease. But what is crucial in this case, in this slide, is to know these words that are highlighted and these words that are underlined, they are the key in these definitions. Infectious can be transferred. Non-infectious cannot be transferred. Notifiable, report to the government once you identify it. Metabolic, it disturbs metabolic processes. It is caused by shortage of nutrients. That's what is important, people, in this case. Let's move on to the next slides. We have these three diseases that here. We have epidemic. What is an epidemic disease? We say, people, these are diseases that spread rapidly and affect a large number of animals. It is a disease that spreads rapidly, and this disease that spread rapidly, they will affect a large number of animals. And this very same disease, it is the disease also to mangabe ubone ukuthi isilwane sakho siphethwe yona, report to the government because it is dangerous. What you have to take note here, it spread rapidly and it affects a large number of animals. So you will find that ilwane zithi ayishone ngokushesha. If you still recall, if I'm not mistaken, it's Newcastle disease back then in the years. That Newcastle disease, it destroyed a number of chickens. So we understand it in that way. Number two, it's zoonotic disease. I like this one. It's a zoonotic disease. This kind of a disease, we say this disease can be transferred. But the key part in the transfer of this disease is that this disease can be transferred from animals to humans, or else it can also be transferred from humans to what? To animals. I hope you get this one. It's zoonotic. Disease le inga ban transferred from esilwaneni iyo affecta ini abantu, or else ngaphinde suke kuma humans iye kuphi kuma animals. We call it what? A zoonotic disease. You can talk about Amarabi, you can talk about TB. These are zoonotic disease. Why we call them zoonotic disease? It's because they can be transferred from animals to humans, or else they can also be transferred from humans to animals. I hope you get this one right, people. Then we have enzootic. Enzootic disease, people, we say this is a kind of a disease that is always there in the animal. But this disease will only affect or will only appear if and only if the immune system of the animal is weak. Remember, we say the role of the immune system is to fight against what? Diseases. But once the immune system is weak, once the immune system is weak, then that disease will then resurface and affect the animal. Take note of the fact that we say this disease is always there. When does it affect the animal? It will affect the animal if the immune system is what? Is weak. We call that what? Enzootic disease. We call it enzootic disease. So we have these three diseases in this slide: epidemic, zoonotic, and enzootic. Epidemic, spread rapidly, affect a large number of animals. Zoonotic can be transferred from humans to animals or from animals to humans. Enzootic, it is there in the animal, but it will only appear if and only if the immune system of the animal is weak. So let's make sure that we understand these diseases nicely. Infectious, we said, people, can be transferred. It's a transmissible disease. It can be transferred from one organism to another. Non-infectious cannot be transferred. Remember the other names. Infectious, we can say it's contagious. Non-infectious, we can say it's non-contagious. Then notifiable, disease whereby if ever you identify it, you must report, you must notify the government authorities. Then metabolic, it affects the metabolic system or the metabolic processes, and then it is caused by shortage of what? Of nutrients. Epidemic, spread rapidly, affect large number of animals. Zoonotic, can be transferred from animals to humans. And zootic, it is there in the animal but will only appear when the immune system of the animal is weak. Make sure that you master in that case. We will have time and look at this level of seriousness of disease. Ngizothanda ukuthi siyibheke separately leyo. Thank you.